Chapter 3. The first thing Kemple says to the new girl is, "Stop!" One word, hissed into the early morning quiet, as they both crouch in the dimly lit kitchen. Then, more urgently, he says, "Don't!" The girl swishes her dark bangs away from her eyes, shoots him a look that he can't quite read, then continues jiggling 2 hairpins inside the pantry lock. As if she doesn't know any better. No, as if she doesn't even care. Kemple crumples his face so hard, his mouth starts to hurt. 2 months he's been living in this rickety house. 8 weeks of learning Abner's heavy-handed rules. This girl, however, has only been here for a few hours, and already she's breaking one of the biggest rules of all. One that'll earn her the bruising, buckle end of a belt if Abner wakes up and catches her in the act. "The pantry is off limits," he tells the girl, his voice whispering over the cold tiles. "You're gonna get yourself hurt." But the girl just rolls her eyes at him and keeps fumbling with the lock. "I'm gonna get myself starved to death if I don't open this lock," she hisses back. "And between you and me, I'd rather be hurt than dead." Kemple rubs the heels of his hands against his face. He's hungry too. Heck, he's been hungry since he moved here. But an empty, trembling stomach is a small price to pay to avoid Abner's wrath. If Kemple could learn to live hungry, then the girl can do it too. "He'll make us toast in the morning," he whispers. "That's what he does. And a cup of watery milk. It's not much, but you'll get used to it." The girl squints at him in the low light, her green eyes shining behind her lashes. "Toast and watery milk," she says, rolling her eyes. "Wow, what a feast. Think I could keep all that in?" Kemple shakes his head. He's just met this girl, and already he doesn't like her. She's reckless, careless, and she clearly doesn't know how furious Abner can get. "I'm telling you for your own good," he whispers, bunching his shirt in his hands. "Abner will hit you something fierce." "So," the girl says, lifting her chin high, "won't be the first time I've been hit." Kemple clamps his mouth shut. He's never heard someone say that they've been hit before. Isn't that supposed to be kept secret? Something dark and shameful? An admission that you've been bad? "Maybe you should learn your lesson then," he says, creeping closer. The girl scowls at his bare feet, and he drags his heels to a stop. "Or maybe you should learn to stand up for yourself," she says. Then, something in the lock clicks. The girl's eyes widen, and she gapes at him for a moment, as if she didn't expect her hairpin trick to actually work. Then, she grabs the lock and wrenches it open. The fear in Kemple turns thick and crunchy, like mud that's been left too long in the sun. It drags through his veins and crawls up his throat, and when he tries to speak, it makes his words come out gurgling, his tongue heavy and thick. "He's gonna wake up and find you here, and you're gonna wish you'd listen to me." But the girl just lets the lock clatter to the floor. Then, she swings open the pantry door and starts rummaging through the darkened shelves, crinkling packages with her fingers, shifting boxes with her elbows, tearing open bags with her teeth. "Oh, it's like a treasure chest in here," she mumbles, her mouth already full of something. "Come on, there's plenty here for you too." But Kemple already knows what's on those shelves. Dried meats, baked chips, cans of pork and beans. It's all the good food that Abner keeps for himself. The stuff that Kemple has been walloped over just for daring to ask about it. No way is he even going near that pantry now that it's open. "Put it all back," he hisses. "Lock it away. I'm telling you now, before it's too late, and—" Somewhere in the shadow-draped house, Abner coughs, and the bed springs creak. Kemple's heart collapses into his throat. If Abner so much as catches them out of bed at this hour, well, he doesn't even want to think about it. "He's waking up," he whisper shouts, giving the girl one last chance to escape. She finally pokes her head out of the pantry, and stares at him with wide, unblinking eyes. "Are you sure?" she asks, her voice wobbly and thin. "Yes," Kemple hisses. "Put it all back, now." The girl finally seems to realize the danger. She starts jamming things back onto the shelves, creasing their open edges shut. "Help me," she whispers. A bag of onion skins flops to the floor. "I don't remember what order it's supposed to." Then it happens. A jar of sliced peaches slips off the uppermost shelf and tumbles into the open air. They both watch it twist and flip as if it's falling in slow motion. The girl reaches out to catch it, but only manages to smack her knuckles against the lid. Then the jar hits the floor and shatters, throwing syrup and glass shards everywhere. The sound of the impact echoes through the house, and for a moment, neither of them move. Then, Abner's raspy voice thunders down the hall. "What in the damn hell?" Kemple's breathing turns hard and jagged. There's no time to clean everything up. No time to put the food back on the shelves. There's no time for anything, really, except for the two of them to run. But what good would that do? Abner will find the mess. He'll know one of them did it. Then he'll stalk them through the house until he gets his hands on them both, and then... Kemple spots the girl's horrified face, and something in the way her bottom lip is quivering, like she's on the verge of tears, makes him realize a horrible truth. She's never been hit before. It was a lie, something she made up to sound tougher than she is. If she'd really been beaten by another Abner, she wouldn't look like such a rat in a trap right now. She'd be steeling herself, bracing her mind for what's about to come. Instead, she sniffs, hugs her ribs in a helpless way, and whispers, "Please." And he understands what she's asking. "Please save me. Please, don't let him get me." Then, Abner appears, stomping down the hall without a shirt on, his red-gray hair sticking up in all directions around his scruffy face. His wild eyes take in the mess, and his face contorts into the ugliest scowl Kemple has ever seen. Then, his glare locks onto the girl's sniffling face. "Why, you little piece of..." Kemple's voice shoots out of him before he even has a chance to think. "It was me," he croaks, forcing his feet to move. He scuttles over to the girl and puts himself in front of her, blocking most of her from Abner's view. "She begged me not to," he lies, "but I was hungry, and I wanted a few chips is all." Abner's crap brown eyes tear into his. The man's stare feels like it's made out of razor blades. "You selfish little prick," Abner growls. He grabs Kemple by the elbow and yanks him so hard that something in his shoulder pops and turns hot. Then the man begins tugging off his belt. "You're getting 10 hits for this," he snarls. "Then you're gonna clean every speck of it up." Kemple grinds his molars together and bunches his hands into fists. 10 hits. He's never gotten more than 5. "I'm sorry," he says, more out of habit than anything. "Yeah," Abner rasps, still tugging at his belt. "You're gonna be a hell of a lot more sorry in a minute." Then, spotting the girl, the man jerks his head toward the hall. "You get on back to bed, Josephyn," he snaps. "You stay good, and you'll never have to get no belt hits like Kemple here." The girl's eyes find Kemple's, and she stares at him blankly, her gaze wet and unblinking. Then, Abner yells, "Get!" and the girl bursts into movement, her skinny body lunging down the hall. Abner sighs loudly, then wraps the tip of the belt around his hand, leaving the buckled end dangling in front of Kemple. The rusted brass glinting in the half-light. 10 hits, the man reminds him, "for every one of your greedy little bastard fingers." Kemple turns his back to Abner and braces his hands against the pantry door. He knows the routine by now, knows to relax his shoulders. Tensing them only makes it hurt worse. Glass shards and cold syrup slop against his toes, and the air suddenly feels hot and stifling, as if the house has become an oven, filled with too much smoke and steam. He knows the girl must be crouching somewhere, trying not to listen to his punishment. Punishment that should have been hers. When Abner inhales and shuffles his feet against the tiles, Kemple repeats the girl's name in his head. The name of the girl he saved. Josephyn. Something small and warm inflates his chest. A tiny bubble of pride. Even in this horrible place, he's managed to do something good. Then, the belt buckle whistles through the air, and Kemple squeezes his eyes shut, bracing for the pain to come.